customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. This week's episode is from a presentation by Brittni Walker, a customer experience consultant with the DiJulius Group. The title of the session, which was presented at the 2022 Customer Service Revolution Conference, is World-Class Leadership, Coaching Culture. Great coaches motivate teams and maximize their performance, both on the field and in the workplace. Learn how to cultivate a coaching culture in your organization by changing the leadership playbook to one that empowers and engages both coaches and their teams. Please enjoy this episode featuring Brittni Walker.
Welcome, guys. I am so excited that you are here today. We are going to be talking about world-class leadership and a coaching culture. If you liked Ryan's presentation with Chick-fil-A, well, you're in for a treat because this one is a lot like it. So we are going to talk. It's really not a secret. It's not a secret how to be a good leader. And when I first started this journey 10 years ago and was hired for a company, they said, hey, we want you to change our company's culture. And I was like, what? How do you change a company's culture? And they're like, well, you are going to go to, at that time, it was called the Secret Service Summit. Has anybody come when it was that? Do I have any OGs? Yes, I still call it the Summit. It is now the Revolution. But they said, you're going to go to the Revolution, you're going to take a bunch of classes, you're going to learn all this, and then you're going to come back and implement it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten into? How do you change a company culture? And so we're going to talk about that today. But first, we're going to do an activity. So everybody put everything down. Got to put it down. I want you guys to be hands-on in this. I'm going to ask questions. Hopefully you will respond. This may get a little crazy. I didn't ask for permission for this activity, so I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we're going to find out. Okay, so I didn't realize that I guess I'm dyslexic because I was calling it all these years paper, rock, scissors. Dave told me it's called rock, paper, scissors, but my slide says rock, scissors, paper. So I'm all over the place, but does everybody know how to play rock, paper, scissors? Okay, we're going to play, but we're going to play with a twist. So you're going to get a partner, and you are going to play rock, paper, scissors, shoot. If you win, you find another winner. If you lose, you start cheering on the person you lost to. Okay? Any questions? I don't want it to get confusing. So yes, at the end, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for one person, right? And we're going to have to move around and use this little bit of space that we have through here. It is a standing activity. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, you do not have to do it. But I would love for you to do it because it's going to be a lot of fun, okay? So everybody stand up. I'll start you with the first rock, paper, scissors, rock, scissors, shoot. And then you will cheer on your person, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. So if you won, find another winner. Are y'all winners, losers? What's going on? Okay, who are you cheering on? Okay, follow your winner, follow your winner. Okay, do we have any winners? Is this the final? Do we have our final winner? Do we have it? Yes, you won, Connor. All right, everybody have a seat. I hope that was fun. Okay, who are my last two people standing? It was Connor and, is that Sam? I need to get my contacts better. All right. What did it feel like when people started cheering you on? And Connor, what did it feel like? There was more pressure, but did it make you want to do better? Did you want to win for those people? Yeah? All right. Let's get started. We'll come back to the rock, paper, scissors, paper, rock, scissors. All right. So what is company culture? You guys tell me. Ryan told us earlier. What is it? Somebody tell me. Shout it out. Okay. Everything. What else? Values. Okay. What else? Okay. What actually happens? Yep. You got it. What else? Purpose. Yes. So what's funny is I actually took a picture and I said, oh my gosh, we have the exact same slide. So culture, the group's collective personality, right? Encompassing their behavior, knowledge, beliefs, and habits. What is your current culture? I see a lot of you guys have a notebook. Some of you may have the app on your phone, but I want you to just jot down, what is the current culture that you are working in? What does it look like at your company? Write down a few of those things. What is the current culture? Somebody yell out a few things that you're writing down. What is it? Teamwork, supportive, people-pleasing, positively impacting. What else? Empathetic. Good one. What about this side? Toxic. It happens. I'm going to tell you about my culture. Yeah, I'm currently living it. What else? Okay, believes in personal development. That's great. Did somebody say something over here? Openness. Love that. Okay, next activity. You're like, oh my gosh, why did we go to the breakout that has all the activities? All right, pull out your cell phone. Everybody's got one. Pull it out. Go to your camera. Turn it on selfie mode. Oh yeah. Turn it on selfie mode. I was going to buy individual mirrors for all of you, and I was like, why be wasteful when everybody has a phone and everybody knows what the selfie mode is, right? All right, so I want you to look at that. Maybe take a screenshot. Take a picture of where you're at right now, of yourself. Maybe somebody will photobomb you, right? The person in the row behind you. So the words that you wrote down, did you just see that in the picture? There are words about the culture that you wrote down. Did you see that? Do you think that those words that some of you guys said, do you think that that's how you go into work every day? Every single day? No. But if you did, if you took a selfie every day and you were like, this is about what I'm to project on every single person around me, would you think about how you walk in the door a little differently? Yeah. So this is Gallup. Gallup is a survey company that surveys employees all across the globe. And we use Gallup at the company that I work for. And I think that this is interesting. I mean, we've all seen these statistics. John kind of talked about this today. But you see that 52% of people aren't looking. You have about 10% actively looking. Then you have 38 watching for opportunities. So that's interesting to me. But really, the statistic that keeps me up at night when I'm thinking about turnover and retention and how do you keep the employees that you want, is this one. 47% of people leave their company because of engagement and culture. Now, how many of you would think that it was pay and benefits? It's not. Pay and benefits is only 14%. And again, these stats are from the beginning of this year, so it'd be the last quarter of 2021. So what do you guys think culture reflects? Okay, attitude, yep. What else? I'll give you a secret. What's this class about? Leadership. Culture reflects leadership. How many of you guys see yourself as a leader in your organization? Yeah? Is it by title? No? Yeah. I think so many people think, oh, I don't manage people, so I'm not a leader. That's so far from true. As this says, being a leader doesn't require a title. And having a title doesn't make you one, right? How many of you guys know people with a title that are not leaders? Yeah, maybe that's where some of that toxic is coming from, right? So how can we be the brand that employees can't live without? I want to show you some real statistics of what I'm personally going through right now, just to set an example. So full-time, I am the executive director of a foundation at Advanced Financial, but I'm also the director of experience. And it's a company in Nashville, Tennessee, and we are the leading financial service, not just in Tennessee, but all across the U.S. And what we have found is that losing an employee costs the company approximately 33% of their annual salary. So I want you to think about that. 33%. And this stat comes from Work Institute, the source. And so here's our company. We've won all of these awards. These are just to name a few. I couldn't get them all on. I feel like we win an award every month for best places to work, culture, Tennessee top workplaces. That was a really cool one we just won. Best in-state employers, best employers for new grads. That's great. Here's the truth. We've had 300 terminations so far in 2022. That has cost our company approximately $4 million. What? This is my job. I live, breathe, eat, sleep our employees, our customer service. How are we treating our employees? Right? And I'm like, we have all these amazing programs. Every year, we do engagement surveys. So I think that this is a big one. In being a leader, the biggest, I can't stand when companies do this, when they send out a survey and they don't read any of the results. Anybody ever worked at a company that does that? If you're one of those companies that does that, do yourself a favor, stop sending out the survey. It's doing no good. It's doing more harm. My fiance was telling me the other day, he is like my prime candidate of who I like to coach. He's a lineman. And so he's like, I don't really have to see the customers. I'm like, yeah, you do. And your customer doesn't have power. So they are counting on you to turn back on their power. And he's like, yeah, but that's not my job. And I'm like, it is your job. But anyways, he was telling me the other day, he said, our survey's coming out again. I'm not even taking it. And I said, well, you can't complain about how the company treats you if you don't take the survey. And he goes, yeah, but none of us do. We're all boycotting this year. I said, you're boycotting? And he goes, yeah, we're boycotting the survey because that's the only way that it's going to get their attention, that they don't do anything with information. It's a waste of our time, and we all know they're not going to do anything. Or one thing that we learned at Advanced Financial is we did implement from the survey. We read the survey, right? I learned the hard way. Never read the survey results alone, because you will find yourself crying because you take it personal when you care about it, right? And what we did was we would make changes, but we didn't tell the company, hey, we made this change based on your feedback. So one thing that we really had to start doing was quick pulse checks, right? Asking them after every single event. How was this event? What was the key takeaway? How was the food? We surveyed, not about everything, not over-surveyed, but we really wanted to show them we care about your experience. And then the next event, we wouldn't have that same experience, right? Here's an example. We have manager camps, and they tell me the chairs are so uncomfortable. So guess what? Next manager camp, you can bring your own chair. It can be a beanbag, a lawn chair, a hammock, whatever you want. You bring it. You bring your own chair, right? We're listening to you. If you don't like our chairs, bring yours. But we want your feedback, right? So surveying is really important. And when you do survey, you can do a lot of fun things. You've got to prioritize what is important to your employees.
Are you curious how your company's customer experience ranks against world-class companies? Take our complimentary Company Service Aptitude Test and find out. Visit theDiJuliusGroup.com/CSAT to take the test and find out your company's strongest and weakest areas. That's theDiJuliusGroup.com/CSAT.
So I want to talk about some of the things that we do, just to give you ideas. Advance your health. So this was a program that we implemented about 8 years ago, but what was important to people is, their health, their financial health. So we started doing financial classes. We started bringing on how to fill out the FAFSA to send your kid to college because people were having a hard time with that. Then they said, well, we didn't know that there was a such thing as called school choice. So we started doing school choice programs. So everything really under Advance Your Health, it could be anything. We do virtual workout classes. Thanks to COVID, we started doing virtual classes. So they can take yoga in person or they can do it virtually. They wanted a gym. So we were like, okay, we will bring a gym to the workplace, right? Some people were like, well, we're in, different locations. We don't have a gym on site. And we said, okay, well, we will get you discounts across gyms all across the state. So that was a really big thing that we implemented, caring about people's overall health. One of the big things is mental wellness, right? Bringing mental health, having mental health days, those things. We brought all of this. We celebrate them. We have Fab 5. Every year, if you've worked with us for 5 years, you get to go whitewater rafting down the Ocoee. And when you hit the Tenacious 10, you get to go on a trip. This year, we're going on a cruise. Last year, we went to Jamaica, and you get to bring a +1. We have virtual nights and newbie nights when you're in your first 90 days where you can meet different executive staff across the company, as we do have 110 locations all across the state. So it's a way to bring us all together. We use a recognition portal. We can send each other e-cards for your birthday, for your this, for your that. The sky's the limit, right? If there is a work perk you can get your hands on, we have it. But guess what? It wasn't enough anymore, right? We do really good at these things. And so what we had to do was we had to really go back and take a look in the mirror and say, okay, we have all the work perks, all the free tickets, all the events, but something's missing. What's missing? And what was missing for us is that we had to look at our leadership and we had to see, are we energy givers? Are we energy suckers? And when we talk about coaching, which we're going to move into, I'd like to think of the energy givers as the coach, right? How many people have had a boss? Some people call it a bad boss. I'm going to call it an energy sucker. How many of you had those? Yeah, name some of the characteristics. Okay, negative. What? Micromanager. Oh, the worst. What else? Poor communication. They can't do wrong. Lazy. Yeah. You got it. So the energy givers, right? They raise confidence. They constantly show gratitude and thanks. And this isn't just through a recognition portal, right? You can bring the portal, but if people aren't recognizing one-on-one and saying, hey, Ashley, you did a really great job today. Da-da-da-da, whatever. There's something so much more meaningful. What's really meaningful is if I personally wrote Ashley the letter to tell her how excellent her job was, right? But you got to constantly show it. Give everyone else the credit. You said it. That's the opposite. When a manager gets you to do the project and then they take all the credit for it, which I guess I should stop and give my sister credit because I am terrible at slide decks and she helped me make this slide deck. I said, I really want a cheerleader on the side of that slide. Could you make it happen? And so that's me up there cheering you guys on. Believe in others, right? They're there for struggles and hard times. We're humans. We spend more time with the people in our workplace than we do with our own families. As I was building this deck, my dad, hater, he told me, typical boomer style, right? He also told me I can't call him a boomer. And I said, well, you talk about the millennials, so why can't I talk about the boomers, right? And now we're all talking about the Gen Zers. But he said, Brittni, why do you have to teach all this, like giving people a pat on the back? People just need to go to work. They need to put their head down. They need to do their job. And I was like, Dad, that's not what kind of leader you are. And so he got so mad, he just like shut down on me and he put in his AirPods and went and talked to me. He started like listening to the Allman Brothers or something because I told him that I had to focus on my presentation. And so later on, I was like, I'm going to get him. So I started asking him questions about how he leads his employees and things that he does. And he already does these things, right? The boomer generation does it. That's how they were taught. So they already implement a lot of these things. But in the millennial generation, with us all on our cell phones, and now that we have all these electronics, we have to teach these things. We have to teach our managers, care about your person. Ask them, how are you doing today, right? Be their biggest cheerleader. Cheer them on. How many people have had a manager where all they do is tell you everything you do wrong? Well, guess what's going to happen if you keep telling them what they're doing wrong? They're going to keep doing the wrong things. So cheer on the positives. Cheer on what you want them to do. Find out their goals and help them achieve their goals. This one's a big one. I think, listening to the Chick-fil-A presentation, everybody might not work at Chick-fil-A forever, right? Him saying that the Chick-fil-A person turned into the nurse, and then the nurse can take that. Wow, I want that nurse to take care of me. I want my nurse telling me my pleasure. I want them to know my name and smile. How many of you have had a nurse that doesn't do any of that, right? But that nurse is going to take that with them wherever they go. So find out their goals. Help them achieve it. Be a great listener. We're going to talk about this one in a minute when I give you some coaching tips. But you got to listen to understand. It's really easy to listen to people and act like you hear what they're saying, but really you're not even paying attention. And we'll walk through fire for those on their team. I think that one's a big one. When you walk side by side, hand in hand with your team members. And practice what you preach. Who was it over here? They said something like, they don't do it, right? Why should I? So when you think about a coach, what do you think about? Somebody tell me. Think about okay, so you think about somebody that inspires you, helps you work hard, motivates, mentor. These are all good. Good. I think about sports. Maybe I'm a sports junkie, but I think about my favorite coach. And she was my track coach, and I hated running. Hated it. But I had to, and she knew I had to because I think if you were a cheerleader, you had to be on the track team or cross country. So it's I'll be on the track team. I don't want to run long distance. But one thing that I can say about my coach, and now I'm so thankful for it, is she knew I hated running, but guess what she did? She ran with me side by side. Every single practice, she was running right there with me. And that was really impactful for me. She was cheering me on. She never missed my meets. She inspired me, and then I wanted to do better for her. I wanted to go and win state because of her, because she put in the extra effort. She didn't have to stand there and run with me. All she had to do was tell me, go run your laps and get to work, right? But she didn't. She knew it was hard for me and I didn't like it, and so she did it with me. So when we think about looking within, one of the things that Advanced Financial is doing is we're saying, okay, as leaders, we must be not doing something right. If we have all these programs, then why are people still leaving? Why did it cost our company almost $4 million? So in that, we found that building rapport is really important. Write these down. These are the 4 key takeaways that I really want you guys to get from this. Because when you build rapport, you build trust. And when you build trust, you're able to influence. And that's what we want to do as leaders. We want to be able to influence to get the behavior that we want, right? And then the engagement, it will grow because you have a strong rapport. Ford. How many of you guys have heard of Ford? Yes. Do you do it? Yeah, this is a big one. A lot of times when I do workshops, I tell people, think about your team members, and I want you to write down their Ford information. And a lot of times people can get family, occupation, recreation, and when it gets to dreams, it's I don't know if I ever asked them what their dream was. But if you know someone's dream, if you know their personal mission, then you got them. You know them, and you can help them align their missions and their dreams, and you can coach them to help them reach their dreams. Performance. Oh, where is it? Oh. How are you coaching performance? This is a big one. We all have metrics. We all have numbers that we're trying to meet and goals. But have you ever just stopped and asked your employee, how do you want me to coach you on performance? How do you like feedback? I was just talking to Tracy the other day, and we were talking about feedback, and she said, oh my gosh, it makes me so nervous. Sometimes it makes me want to cry when I get feedback. And I'm like, well, wow, I wonder how the feedback is being given. And then I told her, I was like, I don't want somebody to sugarcoat it. I personally just want them to tell me. I want it to sting a little, and then I want to move forward, right? But people want how they're being coached on performance different, and you can't coach everyone on your team the same. So this is a big one. Ask people, how do you like to be coached when it comes to performance? So number 1 was building rapport. Number 2 is listening. I would say that listening is probably the most important because it's the key to communication. And it's not just letting somebody talk, but it's looking at their body language, right? It's their tone of voice. And when you really zone in, you can find out usually really, you can find out so much more when you're actually focused. When you have your cell phone out, or when you have your computer out, or when you're doing a one-on-one with someone, you're focused on that other thing, right? But when you give somebody your undivided attention, I can see she's engaged, she's listening, she's taking notes, she's looking at me and making eye contact. So listening. When you listen, you become their biggest cheerleaders. They're like, someone cares about me in this workplace. They are listening to me. They care. And that essentially is what we want people to feel. Just going back to the paper, rock, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Why can't I say it? Was that like a childhood thing growing up? Somebody taught me wrong and now I'm saying it wrong. But when you had somebody cheering you on, you wanted to win for them, right? It was exciting. So be their biggest cheerleaders. Questioning. I love this one. This is something that we're really focusing on, is asking questions. Questions help shape your conversations in a way that you can directly get an outcome. When you go into a coaching session, when you are working with someone and trying to coach on a specific behavior, you want to practice and you want to ask a series of questions. And when you ask a series of questions, you want them to self-discover. And so questions is about self-discovery. If you tell what they're doing wrong, then they're going to shut down. They're going to close down. They're going to feel like it's toxic, right? Somebody's not on my side. They're just telling me everything that I'm doing wrong all the time. But when you allow failure and self-discovery, that's being a good coach. That's being a leader. And then guidance. I love guidance. I think that this one goes back to the micromanaging, right? Somebody in the back said that was an energy sucker, is the micromanager. You've got to train, build that trust, listen. You've got to build the rapport. You've got to listen. You've got to ask your employees questions, but then you guide them. You guide them to success, right? And that's one of the things that we realized. We're giving everybody work perks. We're doing all these things right. People are happy. We are winning all these awards of best places to work. But are we guiding them? Are we listening? Are we building rapport? It's like Chick-fil-A saying, essentially, caring for the people that work for you. And I think what's interesting is when I asked you guys about the energy suckers, you gave me all the answers of exactly what a coach is not, right? It's that person that beats you down. I just wonder if when you're playing a football game, if your coach at the very beginning of the game says, today, team, we're not going to win. Do you think that any coach says that? So then it's like, then why, when we as leaders are coaching, why are we just telling people about the things that they do wrong? We want to tell them about all the things that they're doing right. So you want to give them something to talk about, right?
CEO on the planet responsible for the customer. They're just not. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the people who are responsible for the customer. I'll tell you a true story. A few months ago, I stayed at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas. It is a wonderful hotel. And the reason it's a wonderful hotel is not because of the fancy beds. Any hotel can go and buy a fancy bed. The reason it's a wonderful hotel is because of the people who work there. If you walk past somebody at the Four Seasons and they say hello to you, you get the feeling that they actually wanted to say hello to you. It's not that somebody told them that you have to say hello to all the customers, say hello to all the guests, right? You actually feel that they care. Now, in their lobby, they have a coffee stand. And one afternoon, I went to buy a cup of coffee, and there was a barista by the name of Noah who was serving me. Noah was fantastic. He was friendly and fun, and he was engaging with me, and I had so much fun buying a cup of coffee, I actually think I gave 100% tip, right? He was wonderful. So as is my nature, I asked Noah, do you like your job? And without skipping a beat, Noah says, I love my job. And so I followed up. I said, what is it that the Four Seasons is doing that would make you say to me, I love my job? And without skipping a beat, Noah said, throughout the day, managers will walk past me and ask me how I'm doing, if there's anything that I need to do my job better. He said, not just my manager, any manager. And then he said something magical. He says, I also work at Caesar's Palace. And at Caesar's Palace, the managers are trying to make sure we're doing everything right. They catch us when we do things wrong. He says, when I go to work there, I like to keep my head under the radar and just get through the day so I can get my paycheck. He says, here at the Four Seasons, I feel I can be myself. Same person, entirely a different experience from the customer who will engage with Noah. So we in leadership are always criticizing the people. We're always saying, we gotta get the right people on the bus. I've gotta fill my team. I gotta get the right people. But the reality is, it's not the people, it's the leadership. If we create the right environment, we will get people like Noah at the Four Seasons. If we create the wrong environment, we will get people like Noah at Caesar's Palace. It's not the people. And yet we're so quick to hire and fire. You can't hire and fire your children. If your kids are struggling, we don't say, you gotta see at school, you're up for adoption.
That video. But really, everything I was saying, the same employee, the exact same person in one environment, an environment where it is a coaching culture, where no matter who the manager is, not just his manager, but any manager, any leader in the company comes by, high fives, ask how they're doing. What can I do to make your day better? He is giving great service to the customer, so much so that Simon Sinek asked him, why do you like working here? Why are you so nice? Have y'all been anywhere where you're like, wow, that person's really nice. Why do they like it so much? Well, it's probably because somebody's cheering them on and encouraging them. And leadership, culture is the reflection of leadership. So when you go back and you look at that selfie, I want you to think about it, because all of you guys are leaders. That's why you're at the conference. You're trying to learn little nuggets of information that you can take back. Last year, my topic was on implementation, and it was how you take all this and go back and implement. But honestly, it's really simple. Be nice. Cheer on your team. Care about them as people, right? These are some of the books that I have recently read that are really helpful for me. I'm not trying to sell anything, but I love the book right now, How is the Culture in Your Kingdom? I just sent it to my COO because I want him to read the book, How is the Culture in Your Kingdom? The Energy Buzz. Are you an energy giver, or are you, as a leader, an energy sucker? Right? The High Five Habit. It's about you. It's about leadership. And then, of course, I had to throw in my old friend here, Johnny D. His book, The Relationship Economy. It is a great one. If you haven't read it, read it, listen to it while you're traveling. But as I wrap up here, I want you guys on the way out to try a really simple task. This is something every time I leave a conference, I'm like, well, what can I implement? What is something so easy that I can implement? And this is easy. I want you to implement high-fiving your team members. Great job today. You rock. She smiled. She smiled at me. Awesome job. Jason, I'm so thankful you were here today. Look at him, right? So as y'all are leaving today, I want you to high-five each other as you're walking out the door. I want you to high-five a stranger, see what happens when you high-five them. But there is something behind it. There are studies that sports teams that interact and high-five each other and cheer each other on are more likely to win. I got to talk about my Tennessee Vols here. I do know we dropped from the number 1 spot. I don't care. The fact that we were in the number 1 spot, it could have been for 1 second. It made my year, right? And so I got to talk about them. One of the things that our new coach does is before every practice, he stands outside and high-fives every single player as they're walking in. And that's when there is something behind it. These are 3-star recruits beating big teams that have 5-star recruits in their whole lineup, right? So there's something behind high-fiving each other, cheering each other on, and that is how you go back from that toxic culture, right? Be an energy giver, not an energy sucker. Take a look in the mirror, see if you're the energy giver or the energy sucker. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great conference.
Thanks for listening in to this episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. I'm Denise Thompson, managing partner of the DiJulius Group, and I invite you to send us your questions, post a review, and let us know what you liked and want to hear more of. We're happy that you're part of the Customer Service Revolution and encourage you to subscribe now so you don't miss an episode. You'll find us on Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite podcast station.